What's up, guys and gals? Welcome to the next episode of Unrest here at the Nerd Castle. My name is Splattercat, and as always, I'm happy to be your guide, even though I'm a little bit... The last episode went so badly for me that it was just like, well, that's frustrating. And I actually took time in between episodes to go and read the developer's stance on combat in the game, and while I wish there was a tutorial that taught you how to fight in the game so that at least you were competent at it, I will say this. It does not make sense that a 38-year-old pacifist priest would know how to fight. B, we were fighting somebody with a knife, and every time I've ever seen anybody in real life have a fight that had knives involved, everybody ends up getting cut up. And so it makes sense that we lost that fight. Since we were unarmed, we didn't have a weapon, and we were probably not trained for combat, it makes sense that even if I had fought that by exploiting the system or whatever, and I had won the fight, it wouldn't have made sense that we won the fight, because knife fights rarely turn out well for anyone. So, unfortunately, Bhagwan is dead. That's the way that this game goes. When you slip up and make a bad decision in this game, that character is dead, and it irrevocably changes the rest of the game. That's all there is to it. Like, that character will not be there for another instance where maybe something will happen. Maybe it's a good thing that that character won't be there now. Maybe it's a bad thing that that character won't be there. There's no way to tell. One thing that I do know is metagame knowledge. I don't like Kanika. She needs to go. She killed one of my favorite characters, and I'm not accepting of that. And so, as you can already tell, I'm going to start sabotaging one side just so I can kill Kanika. It's going to happen because I dislike her. It's difficult for me to put my grievances aside and roleplay the characters. Let's talk to Avinash. We'd already talked to everybody over here. As a quick recap, everybody had wanted something different from us if we took the throne. We had stolen one guy's troops, and we had said he'd be executed if the troops tried to betray us. We had taken this guy right here, and we had... Oh, I forget what we promised him. We promised him something. Oh, that's right. He wanted to do business after we had taken the throne. He wanted a trade contract. I think we had offered him that. And then this guy over here said that he could give us all kinds of help from the Naga Empire if we promised to be good to his people after we took the throne. But he said that he wouldn't be able to do anything for us in the conflict, at which point we said, you are useless to us. If you can't do anything in the upcoming fight, then we'll talk to you after the fight is done. I can't say one way or the other, which I think was the best choice. I mean, I'm not going to promise him things if he's not going to... If you're not going to get your hands dirty, how am I going to favor you later on? If you're not willing to put blood on the line for me, why would I put blood on the line for you? That's just part of being a ruler. Are you prepared for what's to come? Yes, I am. Very well. Asha, it's nearly time. Our people in the slums are ready to spark chaos at a moment's notice. As soon as our spies report Shyam's men have cleared from their garrisons in the palace courtyard and mobilized to respond, then we will strike the palace directly. Then everything will fall to you. Vijay's entire ruling council should be there. Good is one of the options. Uncle, I'm not sure I'm ready for this. Okay, so let's be hard about this. You have to be. I mean, that's part of being a king, is that sometimes you have to be hard. Sometimes you have to strike people down. Sometimes you have to be, it has to go both ways. The wisdom of Solomon and all that. You have to know when to fight, when to walk away. And I'll admit, as the person controlling all these situations, that sometimes I don't know the right decision to make. I'm not cut out to be a leader, and so when I'm put in these situations, I'm not really sure what decision to take, because I don't like taking responsibility for big things like this. I feel like it's better left to bigger minds. I'm glad you're eager. Hatred is an ugly thing, but you've earned it, and you'll need it. Your parents can't have died for nothing, and their legacy cannot die with them. If I can only just so we can be vengeful here, we can say that we just want to destroy everybody that took everything from us. We can say that hatred isn't what drives us, we want to make Bimra better. Or we can say that the throne is mine, rightfully. I'm going to go with vengeful because I feel like if somebody had murdered my parents and half my family and taken everything from me, I'm not going to lie. I would be straight. I'm a hateful person when it comes to people taking things from me. I'm the kind of person that can't wait to line up for revenge. That's just me personally. And so, I feel like this game is allowing my viewers to get to know me a little bit better, for better or worse. But I'm a revengeful person. If somebody comes at me, I'm the kind of person that's going to come and hide in your bushes and wait for you to get back at your grandma's house. That's just me. So anyways, if I could destroy the council, that would be enough. I won't lie to you, Asha. The unrest will spread beyond what we can shut down or control. There will be chaos tonight, but all that chaos is in the service of a greater purpose. Tonight cannot end with the usurper Vijay in power and the true ruler Asha wasting away in the slums. For a year, Shyam has used his vast military force to act as guards for the wealthy and safe, and jailers for the downtrodden. Now will turn his cowardice and greed against him, and then your parents in the slums will have their revenge. Preparations are carried out with silent intensity. Soldiers gather their weapons, slum dwellers lay out bandages for the wounded, nobles summon final deliveries of weapons and equipment. Shyam's men will be drawn as far as possible from the palace, and the resistance will begin in earnest. So we've got calculating. Asha evens the odds however she may. We've got leader, which means those who hate the council will kill or die for Asha. Got opportunist still, human solidarity, and proud. Alright, let's keep going. Next up, we're going to be in control of Shyam, as I recall, who is the leader of the mercenaries. Unless the game varies. But I think that's who we've got next. You are Shyam, a mercenary captain and counselor, 40 years old. After the royals were assassinated, both your business and responsibilities increased significantly. Of course, you knew this would happen when you aided Vijay in their demise, just like you knew that the slums would erupt in violence sooner or later. Today is the day you've been readying yourself for since you joined the council. Your company is holding the line between the slums and the rest of Bimra. While they wait for further orders, Vijay has called a special meeting of the council to discuss what should be done about the riots, if anything. Our traits: we are a combat veteran. Shyam has been in a few battles and has even killed a few people. A city councilor. Shyam's charge is to keep the city defended. Important, we need to put ourselves in the mind of Shyam right now. We need to roleplay this out. He is a company leader. Shyam leads his own mercenary company, so he's a mercenary. That says a lot about his mindset. He takes money and he more than likely follows orders, because a mercenary that doesn't follow orders doesn't stay a mercenary for very long. Nobody's going to hire you if they don't know that you're not going to follow orders after they pay you. Alright, let's continue. Let's talk to Jaydeep first. Well, slap my head and burn out my eyes. The mercenary captain's actually wearing a sword today. I hope you've kept it sharp, because your men and mine are going to have a long day ahead of us if we want there to be a Bimra tomorrow. We can be blunt and say, I hope you're not going to use that gaggle of thugs you call your men to keep peace. Say, I've heard that mess before. Bimra's battered and broken, but it'll keep for another century. Just you watch. Might as well work together. I'll give you my plan if you give me yours. That's how military commanders should work together. Work together after all this is over. You find Ranveer and you talk to him one-to-one. He'll decide if we can work together. Okay, well, I tried to come at you. Alright, right, collected. You'll see what we've got in mind soon enough. Until then, keep your guard up. I think next time we're in combat, I'm going to try and move around a little bit better. I mean, I think we're going to get into combat soon because we are playing a warrior right now. Can we say anything to the guards? No. Okay. Take your seat. Okay, nobody's going to talk to me until I take my seat. And the mercenary captain finally arrives. Scribe, take note. All members are in attendance. We'll sit silently. There's no other way to put this, so I'll just lay it out straight. The slums have erupted into riots with no identifiable pretext. Ranveer's men, Jaydeep, reports that these riots have been sporadic and that they began nearly simultaneously at different parts of the slums and that they seem to have spread. Do we have a plan for containment? We do. Jaydeep's men are equal to the task of keeping order within the slums. Meanwhile, you and your men will stand the defensive line and make sure that the riots don't spread into the city proper. Alright, I suppose that works. A mercenary takes orders. That's how I'm going to roleplay this. A mercenary has his duty. Once the money goes from his hands to mine, a mercenary's job is to follow orders and ask no further questions. That's what a mercenary does by definition. We're not a standing army where the general has foresight and can raise kind of disputes and be like, hey, what should I be doing? I don't think this is going to work out. Let me give you my military expertise. A mercenary brigade does what the mercenary brigade is told. Alright, I suppose that works out. Excuse me, are you all really going to sit there and let him get away with this? Is he even going to deny that he's going to use this chaos to eliminate the Naga from the slums? Well, Ranveer, it is natural for the Naga Councilor to be concerned for her people, just as it is natural for me to be concerned with mine. I will promise her only this: making the slums safe is all that I care about. Rhea, is that satisfactory? I can't believe all of you, as if my people haven't suffered enough. And what do you want from us, Rhea? If I need to stay on the defensive line, it's down to Jaydeep. Well, Vijay, she has a point. Let's throw her a bone. I think Ranveer can agree that a few men sent to monitor the defense of the slums is a reasonable concession. Ranveer? To monitor Jaydeep's defense, you mean? Sure. If Shyam wishes to speak with me to arrange such a thing, I will be in my encampment. Excuse me. Now, I don't know if you people realize it, but the city could go either way tonight. The slums don't matter. No offense to Ranveer or Rhea. No offense to Ranveer or Rhea, but they don't. They could burn down tonight and Bimra would remain intact. But we only need one noble family to get killed by a mob of wandering thugs for our entire state to dissolve out of fear and, frankly, well-deserved contempt. We will only have one chance at this. I'm out of here. I can't stand listening to you people any longer. It's interesting seeing the way that, so I'm going to put this in perspective for all of you. Rhea right now is being very, very offensive, and she's doing it because her mentor was offensive and was just like, I could do whatever I want. When basically she's being forward because my character taught her to be forward during the beginning of the game. I was polite the entire time the last time I did this, and during this meeting she was polite the last time I played the game. And so she sort of mirrors the actions of her mentor. Shyam, if you want to talk city defense, please feel free to stay. Everyone else has their tasks to accomplish. So basically what right now, I don't want to see innocent Naga get slaughtered. But as Shyam, I'm sort of limited in what I can do because I'm a mercenary. I'm supposed to follow orders. And so I'm trying to look as though I'm trying to put a few of my men on Jaydeep's men to make sure that things don't get out of control. And it doesn't turn into a slaughter. Honestly, that could have gone better. Could it, though? We need to talk about what happened there. No, we don't. In fact, I refuse to. I'm very tired and the city is rapidly approaching crises. The two of us didn't sacrifice our health and our principles for this city to watch a pack of beggars tear it apart, did we? You know what you need to do. Go protect Bimra, because right now, no one else can. Shyam, there's one actual person that wanted to talk to you. The royal spy we turned assassin survived. Good. He didn't deserve for you to betray him like that. He killed a king. Good enough reason to execute a person by any standard. The fact that I convinced him to do it shouldn't make a difference. That was a joke, Shyam. A very tired, very strange joke. But I think both of us know that we had to control the narrative of the king and the queen's death very carefully, and you just can't do that if the actual assassin is still around. Yeah, I guess he does have a point. We can't have people running around. See, this is what I mean, is it's hard for me to switch the context of playing one side to playing the other. And I think that's the one weakness that this game has, is that as one human being, you can't switch from one person's shoes back and forth over and over again. At least I can't. Now, I personally, I have kind of a sense of duty, and so once I ally myself with one person, I have a lot of trouble swapping to the perspective of another person whose interests are actually perpendicular to those that I'm trying to accomplish. And so right now I'm very much on Asha's side. I'm very much on Bhagwan's side. I'm on those people who have been wronged side, and then when they put me on the side of the aggressor, the people who are trying to take and overthrow and create a coup, it's very difficult for me to swap my mindset around. And I know that I've raised this complaint multiple times, but I think it's one of the few weaknesses in the narrative is that it's easier to be on one side than it is to be on both. And in fact, it's not a fair context to put a player in, to put them on both sides of the conflict, and then to expect them to act in a manner that does not favor one side over the other. And so I will just air that right now. I don't know where he's been, but he's here in the city now. My spies have confirmed it. This is bad, Shyam. The people of the city have always wanted somebody to blame for the problems that were unavoidable, and right now, there might just be the potential for a loyalist backlash. We don't want that. We are no good to Bimra if we're dead. So we'll kill him. Vijay, just speak plainly to me. I don't need everything justified. That's what I think a mercenary captain would say. I do, but I take your point. If you come across the man, do what you have to do. Remember, there's more than our lives at stake if things come to a coup. Bimra can't survive another traumatic turnover of leadership. Got bookcases over here. We can pick them up and take them. I'm not going to read them right now on screen, but we can pick the books up, and each one offers a little bit of insight into like the world and a little bit of lore. And so in our journal, we've got Herbs and Advancement. It says, it would be a fool who would turn base things to gold when a drop of commoner stuff can produce vital things to the unliving. And that invisible thing that struck men down had no name, but the ones travelers whispered to themselves had no cure. He was most embarrassed by his humble clothes, his humble trade, his humble birth. The people lost become icons of themselves. The reasons to love are remembered, and the reasons to hate fade away. Interesting. A lot of these are sort of just kind of words taken out of context, I guess. I don't know if we're even supposed to read all of these. I mean, I'm just going to ignore them because they're just random sentences. There's Laxmi. This is not what I intended to deal with today. Vijay should understand that there are crises beyond the slums. Problem in the farmlands? Someone has left my lands. In famine, every peasant wants to go somewhere where things might be easier, but doing that rather contributes to the famine. If I don't punish the culprit soon in public, others will follow that example, and I will have a mass exodus at worst, or a bitter, inflammatory campaign of punishments at best. I can already feel the winds beginning to pick up. I'm going back. A messenger might come by a little later on my behalf. I don't have time to wait for him. I believe he'll have some things to request of you. And so Laxmi, if you don't remember, is the boss of Juhai and the other girl that escaped from the farms. She's the cruel taskmaster that beats and murders the farmers if they don't do their jobs right. Like I said, I don't like being on the side of the bad guys. I really sincerely don't. I feel like the king and queen were doing what was best for their people, and I think they could have dealt with it. Meeting go well, sir? As my last fist fight with a Naga. We've got the borders controlled. I've made a survey of who's left on the defensive line. 10 squads reported in with enough men to make 7 squads. Okay, so enough men left, I suppose, would be what they should have said there. So we need to redivide 10 squads into 7 full squads. The rest are looting or quit or just didn't show up today. We also have scouts bringing reports on the slum's perimeter in our interior. Sooner or later, we'll have to pull some of the men back to hear your more explicit instructions, sir. Any idea what those will be? Just do what I'm told. but I'll have to tell them how I want the defense carried out. To tell the truth, I'm planning on marching the men into the slums, or, nah, I better talk to the scouts first and get some idea of what we're dealing with. Let's go with that one. That's what a commander would do. You always pay attention to your scouts, as you say. Well, before you send out the men, the council paymaster and an advocate of Laxmis both wanted to speak with you. They're around here somewhere. We also need to appoint a new sergeant now that Mahit has deserted. Meet me by the gates to the encampment when you're ready, and I'll assemble the men. And so we need to talk to the paymaster, we need to talk to Laxmis messenger, and we need to talk to a sergeant. So let's be on our way. There's a lot of conversations to be had, and I'll be honest, this game does make you feel tired. It feels like you're managing so many random little pieces of just... I guess it's just so much management. Trying to hold things together. Let's look and see what we have. We have 80 gold coins. We have armor. We have Shyam's mat. We have water flasks. We have our sword. We have our cleaning rag. We have a gold ring. We have a knife. Always have a contingency plan. We have a comb for our magnificent mustache. That's good. I respect a man who knows how to take care of his mustache. I am a fan of the facial hair. Those of you who have seen me on Twitch, I do have quite the bristly sideburns. I shave them every now and again when I make a mistake, but I do enjoy facial hair. I am a fan, so I tend to grow large 1800 style sideburns very frequently, much to my significant other's dismay. I guess we will talk to refugees first, I guess. Oh, that moved me over. So we'll do the payroll master, and then we'll do, I guess, Laxmi's messenger. God, business, business, business. Let's get this over with and see what people are going to be begging and pleading for. I've got the budgets Vijay has prepared. He would have them brought to you personally, but he wanted me to double check the coffers before bringing this to your attention. Are you ready to discuss your men's payment? I'm listening. Yes, well, there's no good way to say this. The budget is tight. Trade with the Naga Empire has suffered badly, and lately nobles have been demanding funds to raise and maintain their own fighting men as defensive measures. We won't be able to pay your men their usual salary. We'll pay them enough to feed themselves and their families, but that's all I can promise. We can say no, do better, or we can say that's not acceptable. My men are risking their lives for this city. Yeah, I don't really care that the nobles are trying to defend themselves with personal armies. I was hired to do a job, and if you're not going to pay me, I'm not going to do my job. How about that? I'm a mercenary. That's job number one. If I don't get paid, you end up with a Matthias Nilsson problem on your hands, where there's just things blowing up everywhere and EA's making bad sequels. I mean, what are you going to do? No, do better. Look at this from our perspective. If the nobles smell trouble, they'll overthrow the city a lot faster than a bunch of starving cripples ever could. We need to guarantee them protection. Now, if you can guarantee me that most of your men will be committed to the defensive line... God, we could threaten him. We could say, last time I had to repeat myself, I said I had to cut a man's ear off. Do better. He is intimidated. We do have a good intimidated bar. Well, we were going to take the line anyways, so why doesn't just Vijay talk to me himself? I'm glad to hear that. Let us know when the parties for the defensive line are ready to report in. We'll give them their special instructions to double up patrols on noble areas. No, you'll stay away from my men. Only I give them orders. You don't really think that's true, do you? Vijay respects you, Shyam. He thinks you're an excellent leader. It's why he's allowed you to retain the level of control and the level of authority and involvement, even when it's inconvenient that you still enjoy. But your men are mercenaries, and right now Vijay is paying their wages. Frankly, and without rancor, I hope you appreciate how precarious your position is. My men love me. He couldn't buy them off if he tried. I think we're done here. Tell your men to expect their salary reduced after tonight. Hopefully it will still give them something to look forward to, yes? I think, I mean, for men to be aligned with a mercenary captain, that mercenary captain has to have respect from them. And so if they don't get paid, I would say we all walk away together. Shyam and my mercenaries, I walk away from the gates and watch you burn. And that's how my men are ensured to be loyal to me, is that whatever fate they suffer, I suffer. I don't get paid when they don't get paid. And so we all leave together. At least that's how I would arrange it if I was Shyam. Counselor Shyam, my mistress Laxmi wanted me to speak with you. She requires your assistance on a few matters. If you're willing to cooperate with her, she'll ensure some extra considerations find their way to your men. Given the tight council budget and the rising cost of food, it could be a bit of a morale boost for them, couldn't it? Alright, yeah, sure. What's the matter? Well, firstly, now that we've checked in with your scouts, she'd like a general update on how things are going in the slums. Put in your own words. Could be worse. Very well. Secondly, she'd like to petition for military assistance. I gather some recent events have left things a trifle uneasy down here, although she stresses not as bad as they could be. The extra guard would be responsible for protecting her family. Okay, she can have one. We have 7 squads, and so I think one isn't going to kill us. She can have 1 squad. After having surveyed the preliminary defense plans, my mistress would also like to respectfully point out that there's a hole in the defensive line. You protect all of the city from the slums, but they might, if they waited for a break in patrols, rush the main gate. Since that's where Mistress Laxmis brings in the farm's crops from, this is a problem. I can't help her. Next. We're a little ahead of you on this one. One of your scouts from the outlying territory stopped by Laxmis on his way to see you, and she's given the message to me to pass on. Evidently, your outriders picked up some fugitives of hers. She'd like to turn over the prisoners for execution. Okay, and so I don't know if the people that I've captured are the 2 girls, but I can't sabotage myself. Right now, I have to think from the perspective... I'm trying so hard right now, I really am. I have to think from the perspective of Shyam. He doesn't know these individuals he's captured. He's just trying to make all of the... Well, I mean, he's trying to make the sausage right now. That's basically the way that I put it. Okay, and so we'll send the prisoners over. It's 2 peasant girls, actually, but I'm sure Laxmis appreciates whatever you can help. That's all, I believe. I wish you the best of luck. But when we last checked in, Zhuhai hadn't been captured. It's interesting. Like I said, I know you might be angry in the audience right now for my choice because I'm not protecting certain characters, but Shyam has no idea who he's captured. So I can't metagame during all this or it ruins the storyline. It makes the drama less interesting, and that's why I actually would recommend that the developers stop telling the stories from multiple perspectives, because it puts you at a conflict of interest. Do you protect the characters you like when you play their section by giving Shyam, for example, metagame knowledge that he wouldn't have? Or do you just play it out roleplay style? And for the case of this, I'm going to try and play it out roleplay style, so I apologize if you're upset with my decisions. I guess that's the best that I can say to you. That's all, I believe. I wish you the best of luck. So there's a hole in our defensive line. I'm proud, so nobody tells Shyam or his company what to do. So we gain proud, I guess. Let's go ahead and talk to some of Jaydeep's men. Shyam, I'm glad you've come. I respect that you are very busy, and so I will get directly to the point. What are your intentions tonight? We both know the more important question is, what are your intentions? I admire your directness. My goal in its simplest form is to make the slums safe and healthy. I want work for those who can and enough food and medicine to take care of those who can't. I want peace, and I want the end of this base, low survivalist behavior. This is what I've risked everything for. I can respect that. From that goal, a necessary sub-goal emerges. Ask any man in the slums what he wants and he'll tell you. I want the Naga gone. They carry disease, they eat as much as an entire family and aren't above killing to survive. They are intolerable. So yes, Shyam, it's true. I'm going to take this opportunity to act decisively. I'm going to turn the riots on the Naga and I'm going to drive them from our city. It's the right thing to do and it's the safe thing to do. It's the smart thing to do. It's what you need to help me do. At this point, I'd like to say, this is not me speaking as Shyam. What I will say is that the kingdom badly needs to trade from the Naga kingdom in order to feed ourselves. There's still a drought and a famine to think about. If we drive all the Naga out, that was one of the signing factors for why they're sending us food. If all the Naga run out, we might all die and starve together. The Naga are part of the slums. I'm sure they want us gone as well. Shyam, the Naga have no right to be in Bimra's slums at all. It's bitterly amusing how everyone from the royals to Vijayas insisted the slums aren't part of the city in one breath, and decided who gets to live in them in the next. If you're not going to take care of your people or even acknowledge them, what right do you have to rule them? So I have listened. I took responsibility. The exodus or eradication of the Naga is what the people want, and tonight I will give it to them. You gotta hand it to Ranveer. Whoever wrote his lines was remarkably clever. That's a tough line right there. It's amusing how everyone from the royals say that the slums aren't part of the city and then dictate what the slums are going to do in the next. That's a very real thing to say. I mean, that is true. You can't tell somebody they're not part of what's going on and then take a vested interest in what happens there. You can't cast somebody out and then pull them in at the same time. You have to make a decision. So you're just giving the people what they want? I was told you taught them to hate the Naga. I imagine you were. Nobody ever asked a slum dweller what they thought, not until I received my vision of Bankamundi and went out to speak with them. I learned then of their hatred for the Naga, and it was only then, when I gave them a voice and organized them, that the city proper bothered to pay attention. And even then, they only listened when I used that voice to a shout. Or I used that voice to shout. So who's there going to give the Naga a voice? Only the humans get a say in things? Ah, that's what I would say. That's clever too, because he's saying that we can't tell people what to do who we're casting out, but at the same time, he's claiming to speak for one group and ignoring the others entirely. And why should they have a voice? They're invaders. They don't suffer the complaints of occupying forces, you drive them out. The idea that these Naga live rightfully is a story that royals told the Naga Empire, but not one the slums, long ignored, long despised, ever believed. Enough, Shyam. Your whole job is to keep undesirables out of Bimra with the use of force. If you're going to deny the slums the same privilege, at least have the grace to admit that you're a hypocrite. God, it's tough to take a stance in this game. It's a really tough stance. There's a difference between keeping back rioters and killing people who have nowhere to go. I could tell I'm getting nowhere with you. Does this mean you're going to stand in my way? It means that I want oversight. I mean, I'm not going to go to war and cause internal conflict. I mean, God, it's so tough. Like, it's one of those things where, for example, with the Kurds, or I guess that would be the correlation that I would draw right here, is where you've got kind of another population living inside of another majority population, and it's hard to draw real-life correlations. Like, I want to protect people as me personally, but does Shyam care about that? I, as a human being, I, as Splattercat, care about limiting violence and keeping people from dying, but does Shyam care about that? Does Shyam care? And I'm trying so desperately to roleplay this, and it's hard to explain. Like, I definitely have a shaky feeling from all this, and I don't know what the right decision is. I really sincerely don't know what to do. I know what the right decision is, but I don't know if it's the decision that the character would make from their perspective. It does. Then you're going to have a fight on your hands. I've already given Jaydeep his final orders, and where he has gone I couldn't follow if I wanted to. I have no doubt that there will be a reckoning when the dust is cleared, and I have considerable doubt that I will survive it, but I have faith yet that the slums will be healed tonight. I hope you reconsider for the slums and for your men and for Bimra. I hope that you reconsider. God, I don't know what to do. This game really sticks it to you when it comes to ethical decisions. It really puts the screws to you. We're about out of time today, so my name is Splattercat. I'm going to sit and ponder some of these things, and I'm going to give myself a little one-day break in between here and the next recording session to really kind of think and mull over the decisions that we're about to make. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me in the Nerd Castle. I would love to hear your philosophical and also your rhetorical ramblings, everything that you've got down below. Let me know what you think of these decisions. This game is really an amazing catalyst for conversation when it comes to ethical and moral quandaries, and if you're educated in these, if you're not educated in these, everybody deserves the right to their opinion when it comes to murdering large groups of people. And so I'd like to hear what you have to say on it. I really do. It's not going to be a diplomatic decision, but I'd love to open up the dialogue with all of you as to what you think, because I have no doubt that there are those among you right now who are probably shouting at the screen like, do this, this is the right thing to do. And I agree. I'm just so tremendously vexed right now about what the right decision is to make. Take care out there, everybody. My name is Splattercat, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.